Oh, and the last question that was ever asked when we did this was...
Oh, shit!
Did you? Yes, I did, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay. I have been actually losing weight, and it's been kind of nice. I've run into a lot of people that say they can see the weight difference from when they've last seen me, especially in like person when I go to LA, because a lot of people see me like 2 months at a time, and then they see me and they're like, yeah, you can see the difference. It's kind of cool. You guys can't notice because, you know, it's on camera, so it is what it is. But I also always wear baggy t-shirts because, you know, I'm not really a fan of all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go through the list. Would you run the Sis-a-thon back with Poki instead? Probably no, but it's because I'd want to do something that's original with me and her if I did. I think running back the Sis-a-thon was its own thing. It had its own branding. I think doing that again, but with somebody else, makes Valky Ray a guest in people's eyes. And that is not fair to Ray, because Ray was not a guest on the Sis-a-thon. She was literally 50% of it with me. You know what I mean? So the Sis-a-thon is something that was done with me and Ray. I think if I was ever to do a marathon or something with Poki, I would want it to be its own thing so that like Poki is of equal parts of it as well. I think just redoing the Sis-a-thon with different guests and me kind of diminishes the fact that Ray was of an equal part of it. And Ray like literally pushed herself so hard during the Sis-a-thon. She like deserves all the credit for it. There's no world in which I would rebrand and like take Ray out of that equation. I wouldn't do it because Ray's literally like my sister. You know what I mean? And she's like I think with Ray and I, it works very well because we have a sister dynamic that's different than a lot of people where like with her, like a lot of people I have like friendships, but Ray and I, the whole reason we named it Sis-a-thon is because people say we act like sisters, you know what I mean? And that was it. Okay. You know what? I feel like I'm very good with my money. I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful. I can say this year, if you guys know, I had a lot of stuff that went on and I started making more money midway through the year. You know, shout out Agent, shout out Chain Gang. I think they made me a lot more in the normie space because before I was on the Pogger side. You know, those are my boys. So till, you know, the day I die, Agent's always a homie. And like I got in my bag this year, and I was on my grind earlier in the year too. I did stuff with Ray. You know, I did a bunch of stuff, and so this year I made about 500K. I know. Obviously you have to deduct tax from that. That's it. Damn, you're broke. Okay. Why is everybody saying that's it? All right, go fuck yourselves. I get it. Jason made that during one day in the subathon. All right, buddy. But you know, I'm over here by myself. I was very proud of that. Okay. I was very proud. And, you know, I'm trying to save all that money because I would really like to someday be able to buy my sister a house and be able to buy my dad a car. And I would like to do all that. So I want to say I'm very thankful and very blessed. Okay. I'm very blessed. I've been doing a lot and I've been on my grind. And I don't want anybody to ever think I take it for granted. I do a lot to try to give back to like my family and my friends. And like, you know, the people around me and make sure that they're all good. And because of that salary, I was able to hire Waj originally when Waj lost his job. And like, Waj was gonna go not work in the industry and I was able to hire him because of that. So thank you to all you guys. Because like little things like that you guys don't see behind the scenes are things that I'm able to do. And like from there, like, you know, look at Waj now. Like Waj, I'm so glad he never quit the industry because he's fucking killing it. And so it's little things like that like, you know, that salary I'm very thankful for. Ew, way to ruin a clip with a soft fucking moment. You know what I mean? Holy shit. Yo, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. It was an insane year. So that was me last year. And I'm hoping that this year, I can make more. I'm learning about investments, okay? Let me tell you, as a girl who grew up poor, I've never thought in my life that I would be learning about investments, but I'm learning about those, which is great. And I really want to make my first million this year, which would be really cool. Fingers crossed, okay, that things keep going well, and I'll keep, you know, making y'all proud. Also, Dobrinsky, thank you for the 5. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why does she always say she grew up poor? Well, because I think it's important to highlight that I didn't come from money, so I'm not ungrateful for it. Which, if you think that's weird to highlight, that's a reflection of you. You know what I mean? I'm okay with it because I like to show that anybody who did grow up that way can, you know, you can come out of it and do good for yourself. If you think that you can't say that, it's because that's a reflection of you. But somebody else might hear that and be inspired to you know, follow their dreams, and they might actually, you know, do good for themselves. That's good. Don't say W Tortizi. That's crazy. All right, next. What is this? Hello? First of all, if you don't get your parasocial ass on, okay? All right? Let me explain. Simba Reigns, thank you for the sub. What does it take to take you out on a date? Always had a crush on you, but I ain't famous or rich. Brother, no. Let me give you, oh my God. I think I'm gonna get a brain aneurysm right here. Brother, you don't need to be famous or rich to get a date with a woman in general, okay? If you think you have to be that in order to get a date with a woman, then you need to do some self-reflection. All right? All right? Self-reflection. Work on yourself, okay? Work on yourself. Because a lot of men think you need to be rich and famous in order to get women. And I'm here to tell you, if you have goals, okay? If you have goals in life and you're working to improve yourself, you can normally get a girl, men, in the chat. I'm just gonna be real. Anybody who's saying nah, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it a stack in the nicest way possible. You're insecure. That's all it is. Don't get me wrong. I think that in both categories, and it goes both ways with men and women and with women and men, okay? It goes back and forth. Obviously, a lot of people will meet somebody who is rich or famous, and then they want to be with them more, right? I think that's very like something that happens between both men and women. Men see famous women, they want them more. Women see famous men, they want them more. That's like a normal thing, okay? That's very normal in the society. However, if you think that the only way you can get a girl is to be rich or to be famous, you're a fucking idiot. I'm just telling you, you're insecure. Go improve yourself. If you find yourself working towards your goals, having a goal, and working towards that to be a better version of yourself, you don't have to be rich and you don't have to be famous. A lot of women will find that attractive. They will. Because anybody who has goals is instantly attractive. Now, if you just sit there and say, woe is me, I'm not famous and I'm not rich, well then yeah, people probably don't find you attractive because you're just complaining. You know what I mean? That's just the truth. And if you disagree with that, that's fine. I'm coming to you from a woman's perspective. And that's just the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some women that only care about riches, and there are some women who only care about fame. That happens. There's men that only care about riches and only care about fame. You know, but you don't have to be one or the other. I've dated, you know, when I was getting into high school, I dated a guy who I just really liked him because he was really smart. He's really smart. He worked towards something, and I thought that was really attractive that he was working towards something. He had like no money, but also, why did I care? Because I had no money. I didn't give a fuck. You know, I just thought he was a great guy, and that's it. But next, Cinna, have you not seen UDY at all? The world has changed, buddy. The world is not UDY, okay? Shut up, okay? The world is not UDY. That was high school, okay? I would date somebody who had a job now, like who isn't a streamer. It's not about like just because I told a story. Oh my God, people are so fucking dense and like, bro, you're so insecure. Like, dude, I'm gonna keep it the most stacked that you've ever heard it in your life, okay? At any moment in your life, there are people who will not like you because you don't have money and you're not famous. But there are people who will like you because you don't have those things. Everybody is different. If you think that the only way you can get a woman is to be rich and famous, then you need to like do some self-reflection, okay? Do some self-reflection and look at yourself in the mirror, because the problem that it really lies upon is the way that you view women. That's the truth. There are bad women in this world just like there are bad men in this world. It doesn't mean everybody is a bad person, okay? You have goals, and if you have goals and you're working on yourself, you will find somebody who loves and appreciates you for that, okay? Here, if it makes you feel better, I dated a guy outside of college that like loved me for me, okay? He didn't have money. He was working and going to school. And guess what? I was working and going to school. Both of us were broke as shit. Who gave a fuck? You know? It didn't make any sense. Cause it wasn't about that. It was about the fact that like I appreciated him for who he was as a person. That's a normal thing to do, bro. It is what it is. Bro, people are so insecure. They're like, you're telling a story through high school. That's like the most insecure shit you could say ever. Just go like find a hobby or something. I promise you, you'll probably find somebody who likes you. It's just never that deep. It isn't. All right, next. Oh, dude. Dude! Oh my God. What is the most controversial thing you've heard a streamer say off camera? Most controversial thing I've ever seen a streamer say off camera? Why are you guys trying to guess who said it? Okay? Well, I don't understand. Why are you trying to guess who said it? You don't know anything. Okay? The most controversial thing I've ever heard someone say, straight up. Dude, it actually blew my mind, okay? I want to clarify, I was not in a private setting when this happened, okay? I was not in a private setting. I was around a lot of people, okay? A lot of people. And I was actually very shocked because, like, it was really, really awkward. Someone was talking about something with, like, them having like some sort of discourse within, you know, like a small like community or whatever, okay? And like it was like a discourse between them and someone else, okay? To clarify. And in this situation, they called the other group of individuals the freaking F-slur, okay? Publicly. The F-slur. And I was like, brother, huh? Okay, and that's crazy. Don't say that's it. I'm not a fan of that word, okay? That word is crazy, all right? And I was like, that's pretty wild to say in like a public setting. Like in general, you shouldn't say it, obviously, you know what I mean? And like it was just one of those things where normally I hear a lot of people say that like, they're like, oh, I've said that in my past. And that's what they say, right? It's like, oh, well, I was saying that in like 2015 or whatever. But to hear it in 2025 used straight up was pretty crazy. And I just kind of was like, that's crazy. And I just left the convo. Like I was like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't wanna hear that. It's not a me thing. It wasn't it. And it was pretty crazy. I don't want to say when it was, because I know if I allude to when it was, people will match that time era of like my life to be like, oh, was it with this person? Because you were hanging out with these people. I won't do that. I'm being as vague as possible, but it was pretty crazy. Okay, it was pretty crazy. And I was pretty shocked just because, like I said, I was like, it's one thing when people's logs get exposed and then they're like, oh, I said this back in this day. It's a completely other thing when somebody's ripping it in a public setting. You're like, what the fuck? Did you say anything to them? I was just like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Not doing that. And then I walked away. Nope. I was like, not doing that. And then I walked away. Because I was like, that's, you know, insane to do. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that. No, thank you. I'm kind of good off that. So I'm good. Need a name? I'm good. I'm not trying to do all that. Next. Ugh. Any update on the IRL incident? Hope the police caught him. I can't really say, if I'm being honest. Obviously they have not caught him because I would have told you guys. If I'm being honest with being vague, let me tell you, okay? I have learned that the LAPD specifically, which is why I won't move there, unless you get stabbed, a lot of times they don't really like they're not able to deal with it because they are so overwhelmed with so much other stuff, okay? All right? Like I've talked to a lot of police. I've talked to literally a police chief that is in Texas here, okay? Like I went and I talked to a police chief that is here in Texas, and they told me the same thing, which is like it's very, very hard to get them to ever take action on something like this because it is to them less important than a lot of other stuff that goes on in LA, and that's just a very sad reality. So like, you know, it is what it is. I trust me when I say, you know, we're still doing what we can. Okay, trust me when I say still doing what we can. Still trying to make an example because that shit was not okay. That shit was weird as fuck. And I want it to be that way for forever. But it is what it is. Do you think the kid was just joking? No. He literally was having a mental episode behind us, punching trash cans, charged at us, and was reaching into his pocket saying he was gonna kill us. That's not a joke. And if that's a joke to you, then by all means, that's fine. You should go to jail for that joke. Sorry, that's not a joke. And I'll tell you, anybody who ever says like, oh, but you didn't know if he had a weapon, I still stand on it. If somebody's, running at you and saying that and you're not gonna wait to find out if they have a weapon. And let me tell you, I live in Texas. I'm not gonna wait to find out if you have a weapon. So I'm not moving to LA, and that's not how it's gonna be. And, that's the end of that. So we just keep it pushing. It is what it is.